Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am gonna show you guys how to make barbacoa, which means it's just chicken with potatoes in red sauce and the two sides that it goes with. A lot of people do this dish differently, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I make it and how we make it at our house. I have a pan that's hot. It's been on heat. It's fairly hot, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the sauce. I'll go ahead and link it. I have 2 cups of this sauce. I'm gonna link it on the bottom of what I use. I used the red California Chile. I used about six or 7 of them. All my videos, guys, are gonna be for servings of 3 or 4, because it's only for me, myself, and my husband. I mean, my husband, myself, and my son. And it's only for us, and maybe leftovers for like the next day. But you can always add more if you're doing a big portion or a big family. I have 2 cups of this. I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the pan. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna sizzle. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it and let that boil for a little bit. And then once that's boiling, I'm gonna let it simmer for a little bit. I'm gonna put it to 4. And then I have about 3 cups of potatoes that I'm gonna go ahead and add to that. Once again, guys, like I said, I do the portions for just for 3, maybe 4, because it's just for me, my husband, and my son. So you guys can always add more. So this is 3 cups, which is about 4, I think 5. I think I grabbed 5 yellow potatoes, the small yellow potatoes. So you can cut them in any type of way. I know my mom used to cut them like really thin like this, but since it's just for us, I just do bigger chunks like this. That one just fell. I'm not gonna use that one. And then I'm just gonna go ahead, and normally, guys, I am doing this the fast. See, these are too big. They're supposed to be like a little square. Oh, I forgot to cut it in the middle. What I'm gonna go ahead and let me pick up the potato that fell. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and do it as fastest way for myself because of the video. I don't want it to be too long. So I have the sauce right now cooking. I'm trying to look for a spoon. I'm trying to look for, sorry guys, I'm just gonna use my wooden spoon. So normally what I would do is I would add the potatoes and the chicken, and then just set it aside and then just do my thing, like go and do whatever it is I have to do. But that I cook it at a slow speed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the 3 cups of potato now. Do it on the side so it doesn't splash. I'm gonna go ahead and add the potatoes now and let them cook for a little bit, because I pre-cooked the chicken earlier, so the chicken's already cooked. So what I did is I pre-cooked it. I put it on the side. I usually clean it, take the fat off, and then I add it to the pot and the pan with the potatoes. But since I want to speed it up, I'm gonna go ahead and just add the potatoes now, and I'm gonna put it on the back burner, and I'm gonna put it on a medium high, just so that it cooks. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover that up. I'm gonna cover it up, and then I'm gonna transfer it to the back. Transfer that to the back, and then I have a pan. I'm gonna heat that up. For the sauce, guys, I boiled my chicken. I boiled my chicken with a piece of onion, and it's leg meat. Normally people use, I'll show you guys that right now when I show the chicken, but for the sauce I used the California Chiles, about 6 or 7 of them, and then from the chicken that I boiled, I put half an onion. So what I did is I took about, I say a small portion of the onion, and I put it in the blender. with 1 Roma tomato. I boiled it with the chicken inside the chiles. If you guys watched my other videos, you guys will see that I boiled the chiles, the dried chiles with my chicken, and then I went ahead and put the tomato, the chilies. I added a decent size garlic, and then I added the salt, and then I blended it and I strained it. And as I strained it, because you know the chilies leave like their skin and it's too thick, it won't blend all the way. I went ahead and strained it, and then as I strained it, I seen how much of the sauce it was. So I took some of the chicken and I poured it onto the strainer, and I went ahead and got 2 cups off of that. If you boil the chilies and you strain it and you get about 2 cups, you don't have to add it. You can add more liquid later on when you see if the sauce is a little too thick or if the sauce is just not too much. I'm gonna go ahead and do the beans now. The beans, these are refried beans with chorizo. I don't know if you guys can see. I use this kind of chorizo because it doesn't have a lot of chunks of meat. I know there's some chorizos out there that have chunk of meats, and for this dish, I don't use it. And I went ahead, I like to blend my beans. So these are refried beans. These I made them a day ago, and I just put them in the container. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut this open. And some people add ham. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the pan. Ham to these beans. I do not add ham. A lot of people add ham and pickled jalapenos. I kind of don't like to add it for this dish. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my fan. I know it's a little noisy, but I'm gonna turn it on while I do the chorizo. Just don't want it to get too smoky in here. So sorry guys, I'm looking for spoons. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the chorizo cook. I like this chorizo. You guys can use any chorizo, but I like this chorizo because when it's already cooked, it gets it doesn't leave, there's no chunks. I don't like chunks with my beans. As you guys can see, my beans, I blend them. You don't have to blend them. You can just use the masher and just to your liking. But I really like, my husband doesn't really like them blended. He likes them with a little bit of chunks of beans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just let this cook. And it's just regular pork. I use pork chorizo. I know they have beef and I know they have soy. But I'm going to use pork for this one. You can always use the other kind. You can use soy, or you can use, you know, whichever one you like. Like I said, you guys don't have to use that brand. You guys can use any other brand. You guys can use the chunky one, the one that has meat or not. This dish, I grew up with it. My mom made it. I was telling my husband the other day, we were driving somewhere, and I was asking him, like, what should I make? What dishes should I record? And then there's a dish that he likes a lot, and I learned, I mean, my mom makes it too, but I learned how to make it at his house when I first moved in, his mom's house, a long time ago. I think I was 17. And I'm gonna go ahead and lower it because it's kind of burning. And he really loves that dish. Like, it's I can't think of the name right now. We were talking about it, but anyways, we were talking about it, and then I told him that this dish my mom used to make a lot when we were younger for parties. You know, us Latinos, when we party, it's like, it's not just 5 guests, 10 guests. It's like everybody and their mamas comes. But I would tell him that this was a dish that my mom would make. This with the 2 sides and the chicken and potatoes, like, this was the dish that they would mostly make. Or birria. I don't know if a lot of you guys are familiar with birria. Birria is like one of the main dishes that people would make for like parties. But yeah, she would make this dish. I told him that this was like the dish that she would go for. And I would tell him, oh yeah, I should make that. But you know, I make it differently than what my mom makes it. They put in the beans, they put cooked ham, like in little slices, square, and then they put they put jalapenos, pickled jalapenos. They put the whole ones in there, so they're really good when you make them like that. But for this dish, I normally just add just the beans and the chorizo, because I put the ham somewhere else. Okay, so the beans are really I put a little too much chicken stock. I got the chicken stock from the chicken that I boiled for this dish. So when it's fairly like this, when you guys see how it is, it's like already, see, it's not as thick. It's like almost at the same texture as the beans. I'm gonna go ahead and add the beans, and even though the beans are liquidy, what's gonna happen, it's that they're gonna thicken up as you cook them. So as you cook them, they're gonna go ahead and thicken up. So it's not gonna stay that liquid form. It's gonna thicken up as it's cooking. So these are gonna take time to cook as well. So see, this is about the beans. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit more, just because I love these beans like the morning after with like fried eggs, with tortillas, with queso fresco. I mean, we love these beans. My son doesn't eat, my oldest doesn't really eat beans like this. He doesn't really like beans like this, like refried beans. But if I add chorizo to them like this and I cook them like this, oh, he eats them right up. So what I'm gonna do is, since these are almost cooking, I have the potatoes, I have them back here with on a like 4 or 5 cooking, because I want them to cook enough, because since I'm trying to do this video quick and not have you guys on here for too long. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them thicken. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let them thicken. This I could probably I'm just gonna put back in the container. I'll show you guys on my Instagram where I get these, and just close it back up and use them for later. I mean, in case my husband doesn't want them with you know, chorizo, I can just use them later. But I'm gonna go ahead and put these in a container like that too. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave them right here so they can start boiling. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the second dish that I use. The second side. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe. So I'm gonna lower the beans because they're starting to bubble. This is noodles, Sopa. I use this brand. I usually use the macaroni kind, but I didn't have the macaroni kind, so I used the shell. Oh, it's gonna fall. The shell one. I use about, I'd say, more than half of it. I just left this much. Once again, it's just for us. So if you guys have a bigger family, you guys can use the whole bag. I just boiled it and put a little bit of garlic salt in it, and that's what's in here. After it's boiled, I put it in this bowl. I strained the water off, and then I put it in the bowl with a spoonful, which is this size, of mayonnaise, a little bit of garlic salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add cooked ham. It's just regular old cooked ham, like, you know, the ones back then that we used to use for sandwiches. I like this. This is the one my parents have always used. Just regular old cooked ham. So what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna use half of it. I'll see how much it is, and then if it's not enough, I'm gonna cut it in half, and I'm gonna lay it on top. I might have to use the other one. So I'm gonna do it in strips. Usually you'll get out about 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it around, turn this one around, and just try to do it in small. I'm telling you guys, we eat this a lot, parties and stuff like that. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and gonna do this so they're not stuck together. I think, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do all of it. I'm gonna wash my hand because I grabbed the thing with it. I think I'm gonna do all of it. So I'm just gonna grab the other half, put this to the side. So again, you're gonna do, can you guys see? Yeah. I'm gonna do fairly small ones. Oh. And yeah, I really like this dish, guys. My son, he likes everything I cook. Like he loves Mexican. He loves home cooked meals. Like that's just, he loves it. But sometimes I'm not sure if he's gonna eat, you know, everything I make, because a lot of kids don't, you know, our palate changes as we grow up. So I wasn't sure if he was gonna like this. But I made this one time, and my husband loves to eat, like, you know, us Latinos love the tortillas and all of that, but my husband likes to eat these beans with chips. And my son, when he seen that my husband started eating it with chips, he started eating it like that. And now he loves this dish. Like, he'll eat this dish, you know, when I make it. I'll just tell him, you know, chicken and potatoes, and he'll know exactly what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my bowl. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix. If you need more mayonnaise, if you need to add more salt, you can always taste it. Go gradually, you know, mix it. I just put a spoonful of the mayonnaise because I figured that's all I was gonna need, and it looks like that's all I'm gonna need. And then I have a can of corn. A can of corn on here. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it, and as I'm mixing it, I'm gonna add the ham. It's cooked ham, okay, guys. It's like the kind that you get when you, like, for sandwiches, that kind of ham. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it. I know, guys, it looks, it's you guys would think it's like a weird combination, but man, ask any Latino about this cold, you know, pasta, sopa, as we call it, sopa fria, cold pasta. I think it's really, really good. My son loves it. So sometimes I don't know what he's gonna like, but as of right now, I don't think there's any dish that he won't eat. I mean, obviously anything spicy. I know, and it's red sauce, and it's not spicy, guys. You guys know that California Chiles are not spicy. I'm gonna go ahead and add the last one. Take this one that fell. Wash my hands. I'm go ahead and move that, and I'm gonna finish. And then I usually wait for the pasta to get cold. So, because you guys know that if you add the mayonnaise to anything that's hot, it's gonna like start getting runny or like not stick to anything. So I let it get cold. Right now it's like temperature because I just cooked it maybe like an hour ago, and it hasn't cooled completely. So then I just mix it, and once again, you can always taste it to see if it needs salt, more pepper, more mayonnaise. But I'll go ahead and put the ingredients at the bottom. I know you guys might be thinking, what the hell is this? But it's really yummy, guys. Especially with the combination of the dish. It really goes. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a spoon so I can taste it. Go ahead and just grab all three. It's actually really good. So now what I'm gonna do is, I don't know where my cover is at, but I'm gonna cover it and then put it in the fridge so it can cool down before, you know, the meal is done. Let me go ahead and put this in the fridge, guys. Okay, so that's in the fridge. I'm gonna go ahead and check the beans. See it? Do you guys see that it's thickening up? So this is thickening up. It smells really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch the pots. I'm gonna cover the beans up and leave them on really low, just so that they continue to thicken up. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna get the lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it, put the lid on. I'm gonna switch it to the back. I'm gonna bring the potatoes to the front. So I'm gonna switch the back to 2, and I'm gonna switch the front one to 4. I'm gonna go ahead and switch the beans to 2. The potatoes, I could see that they're boiling. This is the spoon I was looking for. Sorry guys, I'm gonna uncover it, and I could see that the sauce has already thickened, so I'm gonna lower it. I'm gonna look at my potatoes. Need to check them with a fork. So you can just check your potatoes if you guys want. I'm gonna go ahead and grab. Oh. Always, when you guys test stuff, even the beans, like when you boil the beans, I know I just boiled the beans for the refried beans. I boiled them in a pot with a lot of water, and I just added salt. And when you go to test them, make sure you test more than one. Test about 3 to 4, beans by themselves, because a lot of the time, see, one potato was done and the other potato wasn't done. See, this one's really done, and the other ones weren't. Test at least more than one. Don't just test one, because if you just test one, that one could come out super like it's done, and then the rest of them could be still uncooked, and you're gonna have uncooked potatoes or beans. Or it could be hard and most of them are already, soft, and if you leave it and you think that all the other ones are non-cooked, you might get mush, because you're gonna overcook everything else because of just one. It still needs a little bit of time, because I think 2 of them were a little hard, and I feel like some of them are thicker than the other ones. That's why I like to make them at least as small as I can. My mom would make them in just cut the potato in half and then just go, along with so they're a little bit thicker, but they're a little bit thinner. My mom's are bigger, but they're thinner. I just like them. I don't know. I like potato. I like them small and chunky. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there. I'm gonna show you guys my chicken. Okay, so this is this is leg meat, the dark meat. I cooked it, in a big pot with water, half of an onion and salt, and I let it boil and I let it come, tender. Usually, people make this with the drumsticks and the breast, I guess, or breast with bone. That's usually what people make it with. They usually make it with that. I did that one time, and it's like I said, I only cook for myself, my husband, and my son, and I feel like it wasn't enough meat, and it wasn't enough room on the pan, and I was just like, man, I want more meat than, you know, the bone. I know the bone gives it the flavor, but if you guys ever cook your chicken and you taste the broth and the broth isn't like, it doesn't taste like chicken, you can always add chicken bouillon, like maybe a teaspoon or whatever on your thing, and mix it up, and it'll still give it that flavor. I just use this one because it's a lot tender and it's a lot easier for my son to eat it, and my husband just likes to dig in and doesn't like to, you know, the bone. I even use this for, I'll do mole one of these days. I'll do a video on mole. I use this kind for mole because what I do is to cook it in, and then when I make it, I mean, everybody makes it differently, and this, a lot of people make it more liquidy, like they do it in a pot. This is a pan, they'll do it in a pot and it's a lot more liquidy. Like I said, I'm only doing it for myself, my husband, and my son. So what I like to do is I like to take the fat off. I don't know, I just don't like to bite into the fat, so I'm just gonna take some of the fat off. I think I like to clean it up. I'll do it, sometimes I'll do it like I used to do it before I would cook the meat, but then the fat kind of gives it flavor, so that's why I did it. Usually I do it as soon as it comes out of the water because it's hot, and then it's easier to peel off the fat. But see, it had seeds because I boil the chiles with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take the fat off. It's a lot easier when you do it as soon as the chicken comes out of the pot, because the fat is still a little soft, so it's easier for you to peel it off. Okay, I already did that. I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands real quick, guys. Okay, so that's cooked. I'm gonna go ahead and, so I want to say the potatoes are gonna be, yeah, they're cooked already. See how the sauce is thickening up? So I'm gonna go ahead, if you guys can hear my son in the background, he was supposed to take a nap. Again, he's always taking a nap when I'm doing these videos. It's the only time I can actually cook, but he's in the room with my husband, so he's kind of like frustrated with my husband. So you can kind of hear him in the background. So once it's thickening up, see, as you guys can see. Like I said, a lot of people, I'm probably gonna add a little bit more liquid into it just because it's a lot of chicken. A lot of people make it like a caldo, like it's a lot of meat. I mean a lot of juice, so probably just gonna add a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay the chicken in there. It's already cooked, so you don't really need a lot of time, or you really don't need to you know, spend a lot of time on the stove as of right now, because the chicken's already cooked. So what I'm just gonna do is just heat up excuse me, guys, I'm still a little sick. Just heat up the chicken. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use all of the chicken because I might just leave it so I can make something else. Like I said, it's not, I don't want to have that much left over. I'll just leave this for quesadillas. My husband loves quesadillas. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just move it around. At this point, the potatoes are already cooked, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna heat up the chicken at this point, and I'm gonna add a little bit more liquid, which is the chicken broth, because it needs a little bit more. But the potatoes are, at this point, I mean, you guys can always eyeball it. You guys know, you know, when your food is cooked, when your potatoes, I mean, I've been making this for a while, so I kind of already know. But like I said, you guys can always take a fork and test your potatoes or try one. This dish is not spicy, guys. It's just, it has the flavor of the chiles. But for myself, I always make, which I'm probably gonna make my husband some salsa on the side. I always have salsa, red salsa at my house, so then he adds, I'm gonna put it down a little bit, he adds salsa to these type of dishes. A lot of people make it spicy. They can make it spicy. I don't, because of my son. Actually want him to eat, so that's why I don't add chile. But I always have chile on the side for my husband, so he can add it. I'm gonna go ahead and add some chicken broth to it. This is a strained chicken broth from the cooked chicken. If it looks a little bit red or a little bit orange, it's because, if you guys watch my other videos, you guys know that I cook I cook the chiles, the dried chiles, with my chicken, just so it's a faster process, and plus it's already gonna have the sauce. So I mean, I see no reason why I wouldn't, cook it all together. So this has, I think, enough juice. Like I said, I know some people eat it differently, guys. This is the way I make mine. This is the way, I mean, clearly this is not the way my mom makes it, but I learned from her how to make it, and then I just made it, my own, by making the potatoes different, by not making it so with a lot of juice. This juice is fairly enough for us. It's more of the flavor. What I am gonna do now, guys, is I'm gonna go ahead and taste the juice to make sure it doesn't need any salt or pepper or anything. I mean, salt or anything else. Just gonna taste the sauce real quick. I'm gonna taste it off camera. Sorry, guys. It needs a little bit of salt. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt, a teaspoon and a half, and then I'm gonna mix it. That's why I don't like to add salt to my food, because I shouldn't have added it. My husband could have added it. I prefer people to add salt, because sometimes, like at my mom's house, my mom cooks. My dad can't have a lot of salt. So she doesn't add salt to her food, and she'll just tell us, hey, if you guys want to add more salt, because of my dad. He can't eat a lot of salt. So she won't add, salt to her food. She'll add a little bit, but she won't overdo it. She'll just say, if it needs salt, just add it. And I'm kind of the same way. I don't, because one or the other, I add way too much salt and I ruin the dish, or I add a little bit, but I think it's better that, there's a saying in Spanish, mejor que le falte de que le sobre, because you can't take it out. You can't take out the salt, right? So it's better for it to not have enough and you can add it than have too much and you can't remove it, So I shouldn't have added it, guys. I think it's probably going to be a little too salty. I'll go ahead and taste